Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at USAGlobalTV.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and I'm super excited to have you here today for our show, which is something of interest to me. I've been going through a very traumatic time, and I've noticed that my emotions really have an impact on what I've been eating, and it's not pretty, folks, just letting you know. Anyway, enough about that. Our show is Food and Our Emotions, and our expert in-house is Mr. red.olaughlin, and he's going to be sharing with us about two diets. I'm not familiar with either one of them, the Golo and the Sota diets. We're going to be looking at the pros and cons. Let's welcome Mr. red.olaughlin. Hello, I see you shaking your head backstage. What are you saying?
Yes. When the week started out, we were going down a certain path. And like you, there was just a lot of things going on. And I was going to go down the path of Golo and Sota because those are things that I see and hear all the time. On the radio, I hear soda, 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 soda. And on TV, this Golo thing keeps popping up. And all of a sudden, it got to be the day before and the night before. And I says, you know, I have a little bit of data on this. I haven't been in communication with Dr. JACALYN. We really haven't set the thing. So I kind of threw it out there. And then last night I changed my mind. Can you believe that?
I love it. Okay. What are we going to be talking about today? I love surprises.
Well, I made a note on my Facebook social media simulcast that we're talking about keto today. Because
okay,
keto. When I was on, like Atkins, I was on Atkins for 6 years. Keto is something that's so similar. I said, you know, I bet you I could do keto without much difficulty, without a lot of research. But I still did some research. I got several pages of stuff here that I just wanted to know little nits about this, that, and whatever. But one thing kind of caught me this morning because you talked about emotions, and you've been through some emotional roller coaster here. But, you know, think about little kids when you feed them full of a lot of sugar. You know, what happens? They go crazy. I mean, it's just like, you can't stop them. They're all over the place. And then all of a sudden that hypoglycemic low starts to dive. And then all of a sudden you can't wake them up. So it's interesting. Food does have an effect on our body, has an effect on our minds, has an effect on how clear we think. And that's one of the benefits actually of the keto diet is the clarity in thinking. So tell me what you know about a keto diet, just out of curiosity, Dr. JACALYN.
I know that it has 4 letters, just like Golo and Sota. And that's all I really know, Red. I don't know anything about it, to be honest with you.
Okay. But you know that on a regular standard American diet, a fair amount, like 40% maybe, is carbohydrates. And then we kind of split the others. But the basic, what they call a macro, the macronutrient balance of a diet is made up of your carbohydrates, your proteins, and your fats. And so depending on how you want to structure that particular percentage of each. We also know that we go on diets primarily to lose weight. We don't go on diets for a whole lot of other reasons. But we also know that we're leaving a lifestyle, transitioning to a temporary situation, which we call a diet, knowing full well that at some point in time, there's going to be some reason we're going to leave that diet and go back to our lifestyle. So let's just take that I'm 40 pounds overweight. And I go on this diet and I lose 30 pounds over a couple months or whatever. There's a reason I went on the diet to lose weight. There's a reason the diet cause me to lose weight. Yet I go off the diet, and a year from now, instead of 40 pounds overweight, I'm 45 or more pounds overweight because I went back to my lifestyle. So the lesson learned, the clue, I have a lifestyle that produces a certain level of weight. We've talked in the past on the Talking Heads about metabolism and a lot of different things. We know that the obesity epidemic in the United States started literally about 1976, around the 200th year anniversary of the United States. We started switching over to ultra processed foods. These are the things that have extra sugar and salt and preservatives and toxins and you name it, but they come in packages. They're easy to buy. They're cheap. And all of a sudden, all that extra caloric intake that's made up more of carbohydrates than it is anything else, but also toxins, which create a particular imbalance in our processing. Anyway, long story short, there's that extra 10 pounds in 1977, 1978, another 5 or so pounds a few years later. And before you know it, you're 20, 30, 40 pounds overweight, and you haven't done anything that you can think of to say, I really haven't changed anything. But the people who are born in the 60s and 70s grow up as teenagers. That's what's available. It's fast food. They jump on. We have a lifestyle. Now, if I compare it to the Mediterranean diet, the people in the Mediterranean diet basically have that same food all the time. So we talk about switching to the Mediterranean diet, and we have that situation where, well, I've spent my entire last 2 or 3 or 4 decades eating the standard American diet. I switch over to which is my lifestyle. And now I switch over to a diet Mediterranean, and it doesn't work as well for me because I don't have that 10, 20, 30 years of that Mediterranean diet built up. But our topic today is keto. And what is keto? Well, if I look at what causes me to add those extra pounds, it's the carbohydrates that I'm eating more than anything else. It's not a simple extra calories, this, that, and whatever. We've gone through this thing several times already, but the primary thing is if I'm burning carbohydrates for my energy, my blood glucose is increased. That causes my body, if it uses it for energy, great. If it doesn't use it for energy, it stores it as fat. So if I'm a really active person, probably not a problem. Probably even a good thing because I can actually have a lot of extra energy. But if I'm not an active person from an exercise perspective, I'm not burning a lot of calories, then that extra amount of energy that I'm taking in the source of food, primarily from carbohydrates, gets converted and stored as fat. However, the body can burn fat as easily as it can burn carbohydrates, your blood sugar. And so what keto does, just like Atkins, is that it changes the perspective. Instead of 40% calories from carbohydrates, now you're down around 5%, 10% max. So you're looking at, I'm almost like an Atkins diet. I'm cutting carbohydrates out. There's very little carbohydrate, and whatever little carbohydrate I have, it's not a simple carbohydrate. It's going to be from spinach or some other source that it's a carbohydrate, yes, but it's not the sugar-laden carbohydrates that we typically see. So I end up with a lot of fat in a keto diet, a lot more fat in a keto diet than I would in Atkins. But my whole body shifts from burning carbohydrates. My insulin levels become almost non-existent. They're still there. They're always going to be there because our body needs it. But I'm not generating all this extra insulin. I'm not generating the risk of type 2 diabetes. I'm doing a lot of things. My glycerides, my blood, everything that I would want kind of happens by going to a keto diet. It's just one of those things that, hey, this is kind of neat. I can have a ham and cheese and sausage omelet followed with a steak for dinner. And what I'm doing is I'm loading up primarily on fat and protein and eliminating carbohydrates. Does that make sense, Dr. JACALYN?
It does, absolutely.
Now, could you switch over today and eliminate a lot of carbohydrates from your diet?
Yes. So actually, I've been eating a bagel sandwich for the last, I want to say, month. Bagel toasted with butter, American cheese, tomatoes, pickles. And today I said no more. So I stopped eating that. And I had a salad I did what you said, went to a restaurant. It's all organic. Make your own salad. I had half of it last night, half of it today. No dressing, just put a little olive oil. But then I had a cream donut, sadly. So I got rid of the bagel and I'm going to get rid of the no more donuts after today.
Okay, but why did you choose the donut?
To punish myself, probably. I don't know.
Ah, the old subconscious punishment ploy.
Yes.
No, it's difficult when we're on a diet or a lifestyle that has a lot of sugar in it. You know, that tastes so good sometimes. Oh, especially like ice cream. It's so unctuous in the mouth. It's just that creamy. It just does this to the taste buds, and we miss that. And when you're having spinach, nothing wrong with. To me, I like raw spinach. I don't like to cook spinach,
I
but
like raw too.
the texture is different, and we get used to a certain texture. It's like I know you like a white wine. Well, wine sometimes can be very dry, sometimes it can be very sweet. And if you change your palate over time to a dry wine, all of a sudden you taste something and it's sweet now. Ew! I mean, you can see the face change because your taste buds are not accustomed to that. But for whatever reason, on the foods, our taste buds remember those nice unctuous textures in our mouth, and they can easily be replaced with keto. When I was on Atkins, I thought that was the absolute best lifestyle going. I mean, there was I could go anywhere, stick to it. Just I had no problems. I was on maybe at most 10 grams a day and loved it. Uh, and later on in the show, we'll get into some reasons why things changed and why I still a proponent of it, but a proponent with awareness, and that's what we'll pass on here. But people who switch over to a keto kind of diet basically give up carbohydrates. They give up their potato chips and their rice and their pasta and their anything at all that is carbohydrate. So if you love your baked potato, no more. If you loved your cereal in the morning, no more. No more donuts, no more bagels. You're giving all that up. But now you open up the door to cheese omelet. You open up the door to any kind of sausage, ham, chicken, meat, all of those things, along with any kind of, I do a lot of cooking. I use coconut oil primarily and butter. Butter is a big, big deal on the keto diet. Actually, butter doesn't have near as bad the rap that people think it does. But in fact, butter is one of those probably really well balanced fats because you're looking at, we need essential fatty acids because our bodies don't make it. So we have omega-3 fatty acids, essential fatty acids, primarily come from fish. You have your vegetable oils, which are essential fatty acids, come from vegetables. That's your omega-6s. However, if you're in a 1-to-1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3, that's pretty good. That's ideal. What happens in the standard American diet is that the omega-6 fatty acids now become 4-to-1, 8-to-1, 20-to-1, 30-to-1, and all of a sudden anything over 4-to-1 omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids become inflammatory in the body. Disease begins at the cellular level with chronic low-level inflammation, something that just will not change over time. You're not getting enough antioxidants to attack it, so you have a chance, you open the door for inflammation to start. So your standard American diet with a lot of omega-6 fatty acids will increase that risk and open the door. But if I'm taking primarily on my keto diet, let's say I'm a lot of salmon and other fish, a lot of red meat, a lot of coconut oil. Coconut oil is a what you call it, saturated fat, just like a saturated fat you get in beef, but the saturated fat is a vegetable saturated fat. And when coconut oil and red palm oil were used as staples back in the early 80s, they started changing over to the trans fat and the margarines and all the rest of that stuff. Well, they lumped coconut oil and palm oil in with the saturated fats from animals because they thought that it caused a lot of cardiovascular issues. Well, that's another topic for another day. But in reality is that we started shifting our omega-3 and omega-6 ratios from that 4-to-1 maximum into something much greater, and we've opened the door. But with the keto diet, we're generally not seeing an overload in the vegetable oils. You may have a little bit here, there, and yonder, but most of it is not in that particular category. So we have a high fat, in some cases 80% of our caloric intake comes from fat, and fat has a lot of calories in it. So you end up with a lot of fat, a lot of protein, and very little carbohydrates. So your body shifts. It starts burning fat. Well, where's your fat? It's that extra inch or 2 or 3 or 4 around your gut, on your arms, under your neck, around your neck, everywhere, your hips, your thighs. If you have an extra little amount that you can roll over or pinch, that's where keto is going to target its source of energy. So over time, let's say you're 40 pounds overweight, that's our initial, you're going to see maybe initially, I lost an inch in my waist, but I haven't lost anything on the scales. Your body is burning fat rather than carbohydrates, your blood sugar. That's the difference. And so people see a lot of benefit on it immediately because their pant size, whatever shirts, everything fits better. And then all of a sudden the weight starts coming off. On Atkins, I lost 40 some pounds in about 4 months. I just, boom, it gone, 7 inches of my waist gone. And I kept it off for years. I mean, to me, it was an easy one. But a lot of people have difficulty. There's a thing called keto flu. Is that something you've ever heard about, Dr. JACALYN?
No, I have not, Red.
Okay. Well, keto flu is when let's say today is your day and you're going to transition and you're not going to have carbohydrates for the rest of the month. Let's just make it easy. September. A lot of people, now you can have your spinach and stuff because that comes from there are carbohydrates in it, but not much. But the donuts and the other things that we enjoy all of a sudden are not there. That's difficult for people to do. You switch over and you take away the sugar. It's like, you become a zombie. There's a lot of issues. It's called keto flu. And they have a lot of problems with that. And it causes them, I don't like this diet. I can't adapt. It becomes that body has never transitioned to using ketones, hence the keto term, your fat as a fuel source. And that becomes difficult for a lot of people. Some people, absolutely easy. I'm one of those absolutely easy people that transition. Now, when I went on Atkins, I'd read 5 or 6 books. I wanted to make sure it was a pretty healthy thing to do. There was some risks they pointed out, but I didn't think I had a problem with that. But ironically, there are risks associated with a keto and an Atkins kind of diet, low carb diet, that they don't talk about. So I think I'm just going to jump in right now and talk about it. When you look at how does calcium get to the bones and what causes calcium to come out of the bones, this is a big issue as you get older because you end up with a lot of people who are frail, who can break bones easily. It's osteopenia, osteoporosis becomes a major problem. If you look at your body, an ideal body is going to have a pH of around 7.4, give or take. Why? Because that's what the bloodstream desires. If it's above 7.4, not too bad. 7.45, 7.35. pH is a measurement of how acidic or how alkaline something is. On a scale of 1 to 14, 1 to 7 is acidic, 7 to 14 is alkaline. The lower, the higher the number, the more alkaline or the more acidic it is. Your stomach acid is way down. Your something else that's acidic, vinegar, is nowhere near the same level as the acid in your stomach. And the same thing about the alkaline kind of products. However, if you can keep your body at or above 7.4 on the pH scale, your entire body, your body will have the ability to take the calcium it gets from the food you're eating and process it. However, if there's not enough calcium in your diet, it's going to go to your bones and it's going to take and leach out calcium from your bones. Well, I was on an Atkins diet for a number of years. And what happened was I became a situation is called acidosis. My body's pH was so low that all of a sudden I was not able to push any calcium into my bones. Everything was coming out of the bones and nothing was going in. I had been a weightlifter for decades, a runner forever. And when I took my first bone density test probably about 20 years ago. So I'm going to say late 50s, I found out I was osteopenia, and it just shocked me. I couldn't figure out why. I didn't know why. But when I'm on a high fat and carbohydrate diet, protein diet, all of that stuff forces the body into an acidic condition. If you're exercising, the metabolism is acidic. So if I'm eating protein, fats, and carbohydrates, everything I'm eating is acidic. So the end product in my body is going to be acidic. If I were to take a piece of let's say this is pH paper, and I touch it to my tongue, I'm going to get a change in color. I can compare it to a scale. I'm 6.8. I need to increase my pH in order to get it above 7.4. Fruits and vegetables leave the body in an alkaline condition. So if I increase just my fruits and vegetables, you had a salad late last night, Dr. JACALYN, or another one this morning. So you have the salad, which is going to leave your body in an alkaline condition. You take and touch the pH paper to your tongue, boom. Okay, now you're 7.5 or something. The calcium that you eat from your food has to have magnesium in your body in order to make it more bioavailable in the body. You have to have vitamin D3 to get that calcium into the bloodstream. You need vitamin K2 to get it into the bones. If you don't have enough vitamin K2, that calcium becomes plaque and goes to your heart valves and arteries. But if the calcium's in your bones, you have to keep your body in an alkaline condition. Otherwise, it's going to be leached out and used to stabilize your blood pH. So it's a vicious battle, because most people don't know what it takes to get calcium to their bones. Drink milk, stronger bones. That doesn't. It's not that way. I had I'm not gonna say a nasty discussion with my wife's oncologist, but he wanted her to increase her calcium, and he was a specialist in the cancer, and he's also a specialist in blood chemistry. But he was not aware of the blood chemistry needs in order to get calcium into the bones. And so we kind of had a little tete-a-tete, and I think for about 2 months, neither one of us talked to each other. But it's one of those things. There are things out there that some people don't know. Okay, so today, awareness. You need calcium, a good source. Calcium carbonate in a pill is not a good source, but you need a good source of calcium. Natural foods are the preferred way. You need magnesium. You need vitamin D3. You need vitamin K2. That gets it into the bones. Now you need to keep your body in an alkaline condition above 7.4 in order for the calcium to stay in your bones, not become plaque in your heart and your arteries. So the keto diet automatically causes my body to become acidic. That's my number one concern. Normally I'd give it a 2 thumbs up. I would give maybe a 1.5 thumbs, because if you know that I need a lot of fruits and vegetables, I can take in a lot of fruits and vegetables, but not affect my caloric balance. In other words, if I go to kale and celery and spinach and parsley and blueberries and raspberries and strawberries and tart cherries, and I can take in a lot of alkaline foods. I can take in a couple ounces of orange juice. Well, orange juice, isn't that acidic? The juice in itself, if you were to test it, is, but that citric acid that your body converts to a bicarbonate is alkaline. So yeah, you're taking in a fruit that has citric acid, but the body actually converts that citric acid to a bicarbonate, which is alkaline. It's kind of one of the ways things work. So I can, so long as I know that I have a problem, my big thing is I want a pH paper that I can take every day, morning and night. Did I get through the night and maintain any kind of balance, or did I really become acidic? Okay, at the end of the day, I'm getting ready to go to bed. Am I acidic now? What am I in the morning? It's cheap. You can get it online. You can get it at a lot of different stores. That, to me, I think if you're going to go with a keto diet or any kind of Atkins or low carbohydrate diet, that's one of those things I would definitely do. Check your pH. That way you can be on a diet that's burning fat, but also know that I don't want to be leaching calcium out of my bones and end up in a situation 10, 15, 20 or more years down the road that you have really increased significantly your risk of osteoporosis and some kind of bone issues. A lot of people find, let me ask you, Dr. Jacqueline, if you were going on a primarily high-fat diet and you went out to your local restaurant, what would you order?
High in fat.
Mm-hmm.
I would
I mean,
say.
what would you normally order at a restaurant if you went out to eat? Let's just start from there.
Oh, I don't go out to eat very much, but I would order salmon.
Okay, so salmon's a high fat, but would you order a pasta or rice or potatoes or anything like that as a part of the side?
Probably not, but years ago I used to eat a lot of ravioli with Alfredo sauce. That has to rank up there for high in fat, doesn't it?
Well, high in carbohydrates because of the ravioli is a pasta. And so what we're looking at is when you go out, what are the sides? Because we're not typically, if you go to Italian, the main course is spaghetti or some kind of pasta. If you go to Asian, the main might be a rice or something like that. If you go to a barbecue place, maybe it might be a baked potato. So you have to look at what is the combination that I can have. Well, if I have to be really low on carbohydrates, what are my options? Well, I can have the steak. I can have mushrooms and onions. I can have my veggies, let's say green beans, for instance, corn, yeah, in moderation, maybe whatever on the plate, you eat half of it. But the issue is you want to stay away from your pastas, your rice, your anything that has carbohydrates in it, because that is what you have to do. So some people going to a restaurant can easily do it. I thought it was kind of strange. I'm over in Germany where I lived in the late 90s, and I would go into a place and I would order a particular one. Well, they would normally have, let's say, French fries as the side that came with that particular meat that I was ordering. And I say, no, I don't want that. I get to the checkout and they would decrease my bill because I didn't have the full meat, the full amount that they had ordered. You come to the States and say, oh, leave the French fries off. They're still going to charge you the full amount, but just different culture, different things. But the issue is when you go out to eat, you have to be really cognizant of what you're eating so that you're not increasing. Can you have, say, a burger? You go there, yeah, easily. When I was going on my Atkins, I would sit there and I'd pull off all the burgers, so I'm just eating the meat. You can order the burger without the bread. If you're having fried chicken, take the good part, the skin with all the crispiness, take that off because you're not wanting it to have the extra carbohydrate in there. So it's difficult, but it's doable. Another problem is because we're not eating from an awareness perspective that I need my fruits and my vegetables in enough quantity to satisfy my nutritional needs. If I'm not eating anything green and I'm eating a lot of fats and proteins, yeah, I'm losing weight. I feel better. I think better. But in a long-term perspective, I go down to get my annual test. I may have some issues with my blood work. I may have some issues with increased risk of other kinds of, just because I'm not getting the balance that I need every single meal. And the one diet that we'll talk about in the not too distant future, I call it it's really not even listed as a diet. Totally out. The Walls Protocol, WAHLS. But anyway, because of the way that particular diet or a lifestyle, it's really more of a lifestyle, is structured. There's reasons why it works so well. But on the keto diet, yeah, weight loss, improved blood sugar, definitely mental clarity. I think that there's no doubt in my mind. You start getting a lot of carbohydrates, you end up with a little bit of brain fog. You take those carbohydrates out of the equation, you are going to be thinking better. Interestingly enough, many decades ago, epileptics were treated with not eating, fasting. That really works well, although you can't fast forever. Dr. Jacqueline, do you know what the record is for the longest fast? No food at all.
40 days.
Well, that is a good guess. Would you believe over a year?
Wow. No,
Yeah, it was it was in England, and the guy lost, a couple hundred pounds. Anyway, he was severely obese, and they monitor him. But anyway, over a year, no food. They had to put in nutrients and things like that. But when you fast for a long period of time and you have epilepsy, all of a sudden those epilepsy symptoms go away. But if you go on a keto kind of diet, low carb, that's really good for epileptic seizures. It's a good treatment. So if you know somebody on that, talk to your doctor about it. What other things besides imbalance of vitamins and minerals? Well, I told you about the issue with pH, and I think that's one. They don't really talk about it a whole lot, but on Atkins, a major problem is constipation, because everything you're eating doesn't have fiber. That's your fruits and your vegetables. But when you start eating a lot of other things, you don't have the fiber in your system. So in addition to increasing your fruits and vegetables, which increases your fiber, in fact, I'm still on it today, and I started this thing, about 1994, I started Atkins, and I started, every time I have a meal, I have extra fiber. It just, it becomes just part of my lifestyle. I have a jar of it in the car. We go out and eat somewhere, and we leave, take your fiber, come home, take your fiber. Fiber your body needs, and if you're on a keto diet, I'll tell you right now, get in the habit of adding fiber on a regular. Whether you pour it in into water and drink it, or whether you take it as a pill, it doesn't matter. It's really a good thing for you. If I look at, the typical, what do you want to call it, Mediterranean diet, on that one, you're looking at 40% carbohydrates and 40% fat. So yeah, there's a kind of you have a lot more carbohydrates because of your pastas and your other things, your rice, but you're not in because of the balance, because that's the way people started. It's not generally as big a problem. Keto could probably easily be done from a Mediterranean perspective if you wanted to err. Let me just talk about erring for a second. I'm in Germany. Let's say I'm 175 pounds, just pick a number. I go down to Italy and I pig out for a 2 or 3 or 4 day weekend. I come back, I've gained 12 pounds. 2 weeks later, I've lost 12 pounds. I'm back to where I was. If I remained in Germany and I went out with a bunch of friends and I had a really nice Italian meal, lots of pasta and bread, I wouldn't gain a single ounce if it's a single meal. The keto, any kind of low carb, a single meal is not going to cause a problem. At least that's been my experience. The body will adapt, and that's fine. But a single meal sometimes leads to 2 meals. That one piece of bread leads to 3 pieces of bread. That extra pasta, anyway. So if you have a single meal, and I generally tell people, once, twice, maximum 3 times a month, go out, you pig out on Mexican food, Italian, whatever you want. You can do that, but don't make it 2 meals, 3 meals, 4 meals in a row, because you're going to be fighting. You're right back to where you started. You now gained your 10 or 12 pounds. That was easiest to lose. You weren't really burning fat. You were just getting rid of water weight. But the Mediterranean diet is a good, if you're going to err in that direction. The standard American diet is over half carbohydrates, 20% maybe in fats, and the rest in protein. So your standard American diet is your lifestyle for all practical purposes. A lot of issues with it we've talked about in the past. We talked about Nutrisystems. We talked about other things out there, Weight Watchers. So when I start looking at all of these other ones, well, the South Beach was set up for this kind of problem. The Weight Watchers was set up for this. Nutrisystems was set up for that. Well, keto is set up to lose weight, lose fat. No doubt about it. That's exactly what it does. So if you're looking for a fast, easy way, short term, 30 days, lose weight, keto is going to work. However, there are issues that can be there. Again, beware of the pH, beware of the nutrient balance. Do you need to start increasing your multivitamins and multiminerals? I prefer to get everything as much as you can from the natural foods. If you can't get it, from adjusting the balance of your fruits and vegetables and proteins and everything. Now on the Wahls protocol, they don't talk about switching out. They don't talk about it on the keto diet or Atkins either. But one of the things I've done in my research is that if you take your protein source, let's say today your protein is beef and chicken, change it out. Tomorrow I have salmon and lamb or something else, shrimp. there are a lot of things you can do, but don't keep the same protein in the same 48-hour window. So allow 2 days to pass before you have that same protein again. You're training your body to get the amino acids from different protein sources. If all you're eating every single day is chicken, the body has a tendency to just default and becomes, like I say, more difficult. We just get in a habit. We're not changing out things enough. So if you're going with your fruits and vegetables, go with your raspberries today, blueberries tomorrow, strawberries the next day. Go with your spinach and kale today and switch over to lettuce and something else tomorrow. Lots and lots and lots of options. But again, it's more of an awareness. Dr. Google, Dr. YouTube have lots and lots of information on there, but they don't always cover these little nutrient or pH or constipation issues that if you look deep enough, what are the real problems associated with something? Ask your Google doctor what's going on. But if you're going to change over from whatever you're doing right now to keto, don't. Especially if you're on any kind of prescription meds. Anytime you're changing a lifestyle, even if it's something better, talk to somebody, a professional who is really tuned in to what you're doing. Maybe a dietitian, maybe a nutritionist, maybe your pharmacist, maybe your doctor. But don't just start something because it sounds good and it looks easy. You may say, well, I don't know if I can. Well, go on it for a couple of weeks and see. It's more of an awareness to the body than it is anything else. So, Dr. JACALYN, do you think you would attempt to do a keto kind of diet?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. What would turn you off from that?
I don't know. I don't think I really fit into a specific kind of diet because I've tried various things. I don't like meat at all. I didn't have sugar for 3 years. And I think I'm more about smaller portions. And I'm going to go back to the intermittent fasting. So I don't know. I just don't see myself going down that path.
Okay. If I were to say, if you're trying just to do a very low carbohydrate diet, would that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. So then a keto kind of diet, low carbohydrate, could work even if you really decreased your protein and you stay with your salmon and other kinds of things that you enjoy, and you stay away from your, let's call it red meats for lack of a better word, then that's something that's a possibility for you.
Yes, it is. It would be a possibility for a lifestyle as opposed to a diet. But we do have a couple of comments from someone very interesting. And also, plant-based is still the way for me all the way. Thanks for your comments. Red, what do you think?
We haven't talked about the vegetarian vegan options. That's one of those things we probably ought to cover. A vegan or vegetarian kind of diet makes it very difficult to get the 30 plus nutrients you need on a daily basis. Let's just take vitamin B12. It's a cobalamin. If you take it in a pill form and you swallow it, it's a cyanocobalamin. It's going to get destroyed in the stomach acid. You're getting no benefit at all. If you're taking it under the tongue subliminally, that's a methylcobalamin. That will actually get into your bloodstream and be good for you. But if you're not taking it subliminally and you think you're getting enough of the vitamin B12 from whatever pill you're taking, you're not getting it because it's only available in meat products. What does that mean? Well, down the road, a deficiency in vitamin B12 mimics Alzheimer's. And that's one of the first things a gerontologist will put somebody on to give them a B12 shot. Are they deficient in B12? So there are things when you're on a primarily plant-based diet that you got to make sure you're getting the right nutrient balance across the board. Other than that, more power to you. You just have to have the education to know I'm getting all of my vitamin K2. I'm getting all of my all 8 parts of vitamin E, that my diet is sufficient to provide all that information. That makes sense, Dr. JACALYN?
It does, definitely. And thanks so much for the comment. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Red, nice job today, as always. You've got some more shows coming up today. Let our audience know about them, please.
Yes, what do we have today, Dr. JACALYN? 142 more shows today?
Something like that.
Okay. Coming up next in about, I guess, 20 minutes, we're looking at the Corner Bookstore. Beth Splain is our author today. She's a self-published author of a couple different books. and I'm looking very much forward to having a chat with her. She's a former opera singer. She's done a number of things, so it should be a very interesting discussion. If you're an author and you would like to get on the USA Global TV and Radio Network, go ahead and go to usaglobaltv.com, go down to the Book Your Session, and look for the Corner Bookstore. I am privileged enough to be the primary host on the Corner Bookstore on the first Thursday of every month. And please join me if you can on that one. If not, Diane Boehm is the primary host the other other Thursdays of each month. At 1 o'clock this afternoon, my time, which is Central, 2 o'clock Eastern, we have The Wise Ones. And today we're having Brian Penso, good friend of mine, fellow author, very interesting character in many, many regards. I super look forward to him being here today. Just a font of knowledge and wisdom about entrepreneurialism that a lot of experts don't have. So I'm looking forward to him coming in today. And then later on this afternoon, we're finishing up at 2 o'clock my time, 3 o'clock East Coast time is Talking Heads. And I think today is session number 4-6 on pain management. And today we're getting into some of those unique pains in the body, lower back, headaches, stomach aches, the kinds of pains that we have. And what can we as individuals do ourselves without having to take that Tylenol or go down and see our doctor? And again, this is based on my perspective and trying to just give what I call them pain hacks. What can we do that will allow us to address that kind of pain? Now, we've been talking a lot about pain and the chemical reactions and what we can do to stop these things. Well, sometimes it doesn't occur to us to do something because, well, headache's different than my stomach ache. Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe there's something that will work on both. Maybe I need to fine tune my headache for something and fine tune my gut problem for something else. Regardless, those are the programs that I'm involved with today. And I know Dr. JACALYN has many, many more on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. And with that, I'm turning it back over to you, Dr. JACALYN.
Thanks so much, Red. We do have your banner up, but what's the best way for people to reach you, and who would you like to reach out?
Well, the easiest way to reach me is to call me on the phone, 281-687-1188. Just call me. I'm really responsive to voice calls, even if I have to return a voice message. Text, for whatever reason, yes, I get them. Yes, I see them, but they don't get answered as quickly. But yes, I will respond to text. red.olaughlin, red.olaughlin@gmail.com is my preferred email address. My website is red.olaughlin.com. That's R-E-D, like the color, O'Laughlin spelled O-L-A-U-G-H-L-I-N @gmail.com. So it's red.olaughlin@gmail.com. Or you can go to my website, red.olaughlin.com, and my information's available there in the banner. And I'm a speaker, I'm a book coach, I'm a publisher. Anyway, if you have questions on your books, on writing, on speaking, need a speaker, more than happy to address those issues with you.
Thank you so much, Red. Great job today, as always. Bye for now.
Catch you in a few minutes.
Okay, thank you. We're going to close out with a sponsorship from the lovely Zane Carson Carruth, official VIP sponsor. Let's take a look.
Hi, my name is Zane Carson Carruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating more memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Abella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book, Abella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Abella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.